Picture a world-class football athlete suspended midair. He connects perfectly with the ball, driving a maximum speed header directly into the skull of a silverback gorilla. At top speed, the human forehead becomes a blunt instrument. A collision like this generates enough force to cause concussions and, in some cases, fracture human bone. But a soccer pitch is a regulated environment designed for human limits. In the wild, evolutionary pressures have forced certain species to develop defenses against traumas that would be instantly lethal to a human. Here we see the silverback gorilla, a creature equipped with extreme structural armor. To see if human physical output even registers against a shield like this, we need to calculate the exact kinetic energy of a pro football header. By pitting our most calculated athletic strikes against primate anatomy, we can map the exact point where human peak performance hits the baseline of nature's heavy engineering. Start with the anatomy of the human athlete right before the point of impact, focusing on the specific mechanics of the upper body shown here. To execute a powerful header, the player contracts their neck and trapezius muscles, pulling the head back, storing potential energy like a tightly wound spring. Then, that biological spring releases. The built-up tension violently snaps the skull forward to strike the ball. This coordinated biomechanical sequence propels a standard football at speeds approaching 50 kilometers per hour. That 50 kilometer per hour projectile represents the absolute maximum kinetic energy output we will use as the baseline force for our collision test. Human biology leverages every available inch of muscle and momentum to temporarily turn a relatively fragile skull into a heavy kinetic weapon. Now we switch to the target, examining the defensive architecture of the silverback. While sharing our basic skeletal blueprint, this gorilla skull's proportions prioritize raw defense. Notice the extreme thickness of the cranial bone. It's heavily reinforced against crushing forces. Additionally, the sagittal crest and pronounced brow ridge serve as specialized evolutionary shock absorbers. The structural logic here is exact. These dense ridges project outward at specific angles, catching incoming kinetic force and distributing it across the thicker parts of the skull, safely away from the brain cavity. A gorilla's head is a highly evolved kinetic dispersal system, engineered from the ground up to neutralize trauma. Which raises an obvious question. Why does a primate require skull armor capable of stopping such high-speed impacts? Look at this image of two silverbacks. Territorial combat between rival males fighting for dominance is physically unrestrained. The primary physical threat in these fights is a crushing, penetrating bite. These bites are delivered by rivals that can weigh upwards of 400 pounds, roughly twice the weight of a pro athlete. Those thick cranial ridges evolved as a defense against those attacks. They form a physical barrier that stops long canine teeth from piercing the brain cavity during these lethal encounters. Nature engineers its apex animals for worst-case survival scenarios. Because a gorilla skull is built to withstand the jaw pressure of a rival silverback, the kinetic impacts of the human sports arena are entirely harmless by comparison. We finally bring the force and the armor together. The 50 km per hour projectile strikes directly against the gorilla's brow ridge. At the exact millisecond of contact, the physics are punishing. The leather football undergoes severe compression, flattening completely against the unyielding bone. But the skull absorbs almost nothing. The kinetic energy is entirely rejected by the rigid structure, causing the ball to ricochet backward. The gorilla doesn't even blink. There is no visible mark, no flinch, and the gorilla remains steady as the human athlete's maximum physical effort is nullified. We consider a top-speed header to be peak human output, but against the durability needed to survive a rival's bite, a pro athlete's strike fails to leave a mark, prompting the question of what else could easily survive a pro header.